Hello everyone. Hi, my name is Ian Brewer. I'm the Financial Inclusion Development Officer for Bradford District Credit Union. I'm funded by the council and I've been in post for just over 5 years. Before I start, my background is actually community development internationally. I worked in India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, places like that, and also worked in South Africa in Soweto. So with a community development background and 7 years at HSBC, with a banking background, this has made me ideally suited to a financial inclusion officer. So I'm going to share some best practice with you as well as what we do today. And I'll go straight into that. So bear with me, let's go speaker view. Excellent. So share screen, onto that. Brilliant. Start. Excellent. Right, so Bradford District Credit Union was set up in 1993. The story goes that John Major was in power at the time, and there was a big recession in the UK, and staff were saying to HR that they couldn't get loans at their usual banks because of high interest rates and a tightness of credit. So that led to the Bradford Council looking at different models to help people get loans, and they decided to start their own credit union. And all a credit union is a place for people to save into one pot and then borrow out of the same pot. Unlike banks, they don't have shareholders or investors externally pouring money in. It's just the people as members are the people that save, and then they lend their money out in like peer-to-peer lending. In 2005, when communities broke away from the council, we extended our services across the whole district and went from an industrial credit union to a community credit union. Then two things happened in 2015 that was quite a game changer. First of all, we were one of the first credit unions to adopt online banking, and that meant that people could check their balance and move their money out of that account into an account of their own at another bank at a moment's notice. And they did that without having to come into branch. And in 2018, we launched our app. So again, people can check their balance and move money out and apply for loans without having to come to branch. And that app is on your app store. If you put in Bradford Credit Union, you'll find us there. Also in 2015, if you remember at the time, things were very much about payday lenders, things like Wonga and companies like that, charging sky-high interest rates. And that was a real concern to the council, and they decided they needed a financial inclusion development officer, but they didn't want that employed by the council. So they decided to fund the credit union that they started in the first place to do that work for them and also to grow the credit union membership. In 2019, the government approached us to say that Kirklees Council didn't have its own credit union. Their credit union called Castleminster closed in 2014. And would we extend our services to include Kirklees and also Craven? So we got permission from the government, and we now cover the whole corridor from Huddersfield right up to Skipton. What's been interesting is the membership growth. So up until 2015, we had 3,000 members, and we've grown by a staggering amount to 8,500 members just in our latest update last year. We're actually closer to 9,000 members now. So if I ask you how much 8,500 people in an area of deprivation like Bradford save together, I wonder what you would say with that. When I usually ask that question, people answer with the answer of anywhere between £100,000 and £1 million. Well, I'm glad you're sitting down today because we actually look after a staggering £7.5 million for just 8,500 members. And that shows you how effective we are at getting people into the savings habit. When I joined the credit union, I found it very difficult to think of a way to try and describe who we are. It's got the word credit, it's got the word union in it. We're not a bank, we're not a building society, what are we? So I came up with this graphic that clearly describes what we are. So if you can imagine a financial cliff, and when people come to the end of their own resources, when they run out of money and in debt, they fall off that financial cliff. And there are ambulances at the bottom of that cliff to take them away to financial hospital. And that could be CAB, Christians Against Poverty, or Step Change, or any number one of the other charities that help people at the bottom of the cliff. What credit unions do is build a fence at the top of the cliff. And we do that by getting people into a savings habit, so they've got something to fall back on when times are hard, but also access to low-cost loans that they couldn't get anywhere else. We couldn't operate without our payroll partnerships, and we have 33 payroll partners that with about 3,500 staff that save into the credit union. And they're really important because they save regularly, they save larger amounts, and if they borrow, they very seldom default. That makes us a very strong and stable credit union. That allows us to lend and offer services to the financially excluded. Back in 2015, we didn't have anybody from a financially excluded background. Today, we have about 3,000 people. It's about 30% of membership are now from a financially excluded background, i.e. couldn't easily get another bank account anywhere else, or couldn't get access to low-cost loans. That's a spattering of the companies that we deal with. When we think about accounts and services, there are three that I'd like to highlight today. First is Christmas Savers, and that's for people that are saving up for Christmas. They can open that account and they save throughout the year. It's into a locked account. Can't get access to it unless you close it down. And the end of November, that opens up and people can take the money that they've saved. And this has had a major effect on our financially excluded. It's stopped them going to loan sharks over Christmas because they've had the money saved up already. We also do young people savers. So I'm thinking of stronger families may be interested in this so that they can open up an account for their children. These accounts are for under 17s, stay in the parent's name as trustee until they reach the age of 17 and it becomes their own account then. And also adult savers can save into the credit union and have it siphoned off also into their junior savers. So you could have one payment of £25 to put £10 into your own account and 15 into your child's account or grandchild's account if you so wished. Then in the beginning of the pandemic, we had another game changer when we launched the £500 family loan. We recognized during the pandemic that people were even more difficult from finding credit. So by opening up the family loan, people transfer their child benefit into the credit union. And from that child benefit, they can take a loan of up to £500 for immediate needs. We do checks on them to make sure it's affordable, of course, but because of the vehicle of the family loan coming in, it is able to offset that. And once they've paid up to 30% or down to £300 of that, they can top that back up. So it becomes a facility for people to be able to get credit where they wouldn't otherwise be able to. It helps them budget and be able to get loans where they couldn't get it from elsewhere. At the credit union, I also offer free financial workshops based on my understanding of banking. And there are 5 things that are majorly important for people to understand. First is APR, what it means and how it works. Payday lenders and loan sharks, and what's the difference and how they work. Contactless payments, which was actually brought in for the sole purpose of getting people into their overdrafts. So I explain overdrafts and I explain credit score. I can do this with staff and I can do this with the community or with tenants or your people in a workshop, and I can also train people up to be able to deliver it on our behalf. Just sticking on to APR just for a moment, your average bank lends between 6 and 20% based on your credit rating. The unofficial records are that only 40% of the UK population can get these rates. That means that 60% of the UK population have got to go somewhere else for their borrowing. And one of the cheapest you can get is a doorstep loan. and doorstep lenders charge 272% APR for their loans. So take £500, for example. If £500 over just 1 year at 272% APR is £410 of interest. That's a £910 loan. If you're talking payday lenders, they charge anywhere between 1,000 and 4,000% APR. At 4,000%, you're paying £40 for every £1 you've borrowed. Credit unions situated in the middle, our rates start at 42.8%, which may sound a little high to you, but that's actually set by the government. All credit unions are set the same way for the first £500, because that's where the majority defaults can be, the highest risk. So 42.8% APR, but we lend right down to 9% and do loans of up to 7,500 according to your credit score and your ability to repay. So that puts that into context. My background is community development. We set up a group that does the anti-poverty events group, which is Stronger Family is part of. And we've done in the past conferences, roadshows, and workshops, and a spattering of photos there. But due to the pandemic, we've not been able to engage with people in the same way. So we work closely with our partners, Artworks. If anybody knows Deborah Collett there, I'm sure a number of you do. We're able to respond to COVID by providing a booklet. We call it Bundles Creativity Family Packs. They're co-designed partnership packs. They cover topics like COVID, loan sharks, gambling, and credit union. So far, we've done 8 editions to 10,000 vulnerable families each time. That's 80,000 family packs have gone out. And I think Stronger Families have definitely been part of that. A couple of the ideas was Loan Sharks and Monsters, which we did for Halloween, playing on the idea of monsters and loan sharks. And for the Census Day, we did Everyone Matters, Everyone Counts, to try and improve people filling in their census forms. We also do community engagement in Kirklees and work closely with place-based financial inclusion development with the Brass Project and Dalton Together. Dalton Together is a group in Kirklees that we pioneered this work with, doing the Brass program. In the last year as well, we've been able to unveil some brand new projects. The first one is Uniform Savers. We're very excited about this. This is funded by Public Health through the Bradford Council. And they want money to be able to go to people to help them with their school uniforms. And they want them saving at the same time. So through Britannia House and Keighley Town Hall, people are able to set up appointments to go down there to open up a Uniform Savers account where they commit to saving for £10 a month for however long it lasts up until August of 2022. And at the end of August, that money will open up and people will be able to take their money out, plus they'll get £100 reward paid for by Bradford Council. And this is a great way of people getting into the savings habit. Now, some people might think, well, let's wait until June, where I don't have to pay so much towards it. There's a limited allocation, and allocation is going very, very fast. So there is on our website, which I'll show you later, a way to be able to refer into this program through the council. Then finally is in churches and the Food Savers Network, and I'm going to stop sharing at this point and hand over to my colleague, Julie. I've known her for 10 years. She's a great friend of mine, and she'll be able to help on that. Julie, I'm just going to make you, yeah, fantastic.
Sounds very, very formal when you say colleague.
She's a good friend.
How do I get rid of that? My screen sharing.
You are.
Hello.
Hi, Julie.
If you go to slideshow in the middle.
No, I'm just trying to toolbar at the top. So,
don't worry, it's full on our screen.
And Yeah, so I'm just trying to shuffle it around.
Thanks,
Hello.
Julie.
Helen and Zora, is that the right word? Zora?
Hi, Julie.
Hi. So Food Savers, back in 2019, we were looking at, first of all, so I'm Julie from Food Savers, but we're under the umbrella of In Churches. And if you've heard about In Churches, we are a charity. We've been established 12 years. We do a lot of practical support around Bradford for different organisations. And we started off life as a winter shelter and then gradually moved. Somebody said we were like polyfiller, that we filled the gaps that other organisations didn't fill, which was like really nice. And then somebody said, oh no, you like expanding foam because you go fill it and then it expands. So I was like, oh, I'll take that as well, thank you. So we've never tried to replicate services. We've always looked at what we felt that was missing and support groups and other charities. So, you know, we kind of like give them our plenty. About seven or 8 years ago, we were really inundated with lots of food, and we took on a 6,000 square foot warehouse and decided that we would be the Robin Hood of the food world. So we'd take from the big corporations and anybody that would give us food and redistribute it to community groups. My background, I'm a food teacher and a chef, so I was passionate about seeing kids cooking and learning how to work with food. So we took on 4 years ago Jamie's Ministry of Food, and so I've expanded. So we do lots of practical support around food and food surplus. So we back at the beginning of the pandemic, we were running mini markets into community groups and wondered if the community groups would like to be able to transition over to a pantry model. Most of them said yes, and then COVID hit, and we were noticing before COVID that lots of people were dependent on free food, and then that was just exasperated during the pandemic. So we know that pantry model isn't a new concept, and we've heard from Ian that credit unions have been around a long time. And you know, how many years? When was the first credit union opened, Ian? Many years ago?
In the 60s.
Yeah. So yeah, probably heading up to 60 years. So what we decided to do was combine the two. And our mantra is food for health, not wealth. So we were trying to get fresh fruit and vegetables out into the community, and we saw that that was a vehicle to be able to do that with the Food Savers model. We talk about affordable food and availability, and the cost of the food is quite prohibitive, but also it hinges on a lot of the family income. So what we've been able to do is maximise people's income by charging £6. We had an audit done from Hermes, who said that we were quite unusual as a charity, because what we tried to do, I've got 3 children and none of them are dependent on me, and I don't want other people's children to dependent on our services. So we're motivated by the fact that this Rockefeller quote was attributed to the work that we do, that charity is injurious unless it helps the recipient become independent of it. And a lot of the work that we do could quite easily, people could become dependent, and we really don't want to see that. So we here at, I don't know if you know Bradford. Helen, where are you from, Helen?
I'm from the Bridge, which is based in on Salem Street in Bradford City Centre.
So just up the road from you here. What do you know, the former brewery?
Yes, I do.
Zora, where are you from? Sorry.
She's the same.
So you can come up, you know, come and pop up on and see us. We're just up on Rawson Street there. And
I plan to actually. I'd come across your website just before Christmas, and I've actually said to my manager, "Oh, I'm going to pop in to visit."
Come up and see, because this is not. This is just an idealized image there. It's not what we've got here, but that in my head I had, you know, let's open this as a little corner shop. and let's not normalise food bank use. Now you'll know that because we've got a lot of clients that we used to have in common, they come to us and get £6 of shopping, and the thought was get people used to buying their own food, even if it's at a very heavily discounted price. And we've had quite a few successes where some of the people that we've been working with, formerly homeless, have started to use our service and been able to choose their own food. So what we thought was, if they pay £6, every 6 weeks we'll give them a free shop. Yay, great. And then of course we know Ian Brewer. I'm always forgiven for thinking that Ian is the credit union because he does so much work, but I know there's a team behind him. So we said Carlsberg don't make credit unions, but if they did, chap that you recognise. Because what we said was, Ian, this pound that we've got, do you think we can do anything with it? And he was like, oh, let's look at that. So we've been working on this model, and this is where it's got us so far. You recognise that?
Supermarket is the next level up on the food ladder from food banks. So we've been working with a lot of organisations that have been giving away free food, and we know that food isn't free. So what we've done is taken the pop-up pantry model, and we've combined that with the credit union to offer choice to people, to give them dignity, to enable them to be financially inclusive if they want to join that.
So the membership scheme, they pay £6 for the shopping. They would then sign up and join credit union. We would then invest £1 of the £6 into the credit union. So it'd start them off on the ladder of saving.
So one person in particular who, when he got to £8 in his savings account, he says that's more than I've ever saved in my life.
We feel that everybody's got the right to fresh, affordable food. And for some people that are struggling at the moment, the idea of being able to choose their own food is really empowering for them.
If they get a certain number of the fruit and vegetables, then we'll give them at least 8 different fruits and vegetables. They then get whatever fresh stuff that we have. So sometimes we have milk, sometimes we have cheese or eggs or butter, just depending what we have. And then they go along and they get about another 6 items of things like pasta and bread, tins, anything like that. And then finally, we have what we call our treat table.
Additional to the social supermarket, there's a lot of wraparound care. So that could be debt advice, that could be budgeting, that could be volunteering opportunities, advice and support. And there's member benefits such as haircuts, cookery classes and things like that.
We will look at how we can train them up or give them enough knowledge to be able to make a lovely meal out of the ingredients that we've got.
People have a choice, and that gives them dignity, actually. So rather than just being given some food, which is important, and food banks are still really important, it's like the next level, that when people really struggle to find enough money to be able to go to a supermarket, this is giving them a good quality, healthy food that they can then go home and cook for their family, and they can have a choice about what else.
Our vision is to grow a network of food savers, so where members have dignity and choice and self-respect and feel empowered to make their own choices about the good food, and they've also got opportunities to learn new skills and serve as a member in recognised credit union scheme. So at the moment we have 4 or 5 organisations in Bradford that we currently work with that have come on board with that, and then we've got a further 5 or 6 that want to join as well.
So that basically is what we're about, and you probably recognise that the brewery here, and we've had a lot of success. We're open Wednesday and Thursday 10 till 2. So if you had clients that you wanted to bring up, it's a very low entry. There's no barriers to entry. If you feel you've got a client that could use this service, you just give us a call and we can book them in. Thursdays at the moment are, we've got spaces on the Thursday morning. We'd open more days of the week if more people wanted to get involved and come on board. It's only at the point when they want to join the credit union that we need to take any more details from them. So we've had, some, I'm not going to name names, but I'm sure if I did name the names, you possibly know them, that people that have been formerly homeless that have come on board and started thinking about saving. So 14 of our members had saved over £2,000 here. And you're aware that, you know, some of them do get benefits. If people have no money, then this isn't the service for them. This is, you know, for people that sort of want to get on those next steps. So do come up and give us a look over.
Before we go into questions then, so thank you very much for that, Julie. I'm just going to show you the website that we have that we'll just explain a little bit more, and then we'll go into a question time afterwards. Excellent. Right, so this is our website. It is bdc.co.uk. And we're going to go to the savings tab. We're going to go down to, I'm going to start with uniform savers first, because that's the one I started with. And just to remind everybody that so Uniform Savers is a government council, Bradford Council programme that where people save £10 a month and they get the £100 at the end. All the criteria is there. It's aimed at single parent families, and anybody can be referred in by emailing Scott Leach at uniformsavers@bradford.gov.uk, and they can set up a meeting at Britannia House or Keighley Town Hall, whichever you prefer on that. Then by going back to the main screen, I'm going to jump into Food Savers, and I'll let Julie pick up again and just explain what we see going on here.
Yes, so we've got 17 pantries around Bradford that we support, and we've transitioned 8 of them over to be Food Savers, which is really exciting. Sutton Centre with Ian, we were on a gentle roll with Sutton Centre, and they've like, we want to up our game again now. So they tweeted something this morning about that they've got new members joining up.
Fantastic news.
They don't have to join the credit union, but it's almost like it's a no-brainer. If you're going to pay £6 for your shopping, you might as well put £1 away into the credit union. But what we're finding is that people want to put a bit more than that away. So, oh, go on then. I've got £6. I'm giving you £6. Go on, take a tenner. So it's getting people, especially the clients that you possibly work with, into that thought process of savings, because we're finding that the sweet spot is that they'll come along to a cookery class and they'll enjoy that, and then, you know, they'll be able to cook for themselves once they move into accommodation, and just that literally the entry level into budgeting and managing for themselves is really exciting for me anyway, because very often we're presented with lots of financial documents and things, access for people, but the barrier to entry for them is quite high. So stuff that we've had as a homeless charity, you know, it's like, what's a mortgage, what's an interest rate, and when people are just like, never mind that, give me a house, I need accommodation, they're not thinking, you know, along those terms. But when they've come into Food Savers and they've started to save a bit, they're like, oh, okay. In fact, one chap we were on a Zoom last summer to Kirklees, I don't know if you know that. and this chap jumped over, and I know he goes to the Bridge Project, he's one of your customers, and he threw £20 over the fence at me, and I was like, oh, and he said, here love, he said, can I pay 3 weeks shopping on, because I don't trust myself. He said, that'll be gone by tonight if I don't give it to you. And I was like, oh, my name's Julie, by the way. And I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have £20 cash like that thrown at me, but it'd already gone. But it just meant that he could, you know, he was thinking about paying his shopping on, and not spending it on drugs, basically. So, you know, anywhere that we can start and affect that behaviour change for me is is a real bonus.
Fantastic. So just while we're here, just to finalize, in the info tab down at the Money SOS side is a portal of where you find information on the activity packs and the Money SOS course that I was talking about beforehand. And if anybody's interested in saving, just join the Join tab there. Hope people will do and support us as well. So I'm going to stop sharing and open the floor and ask for any questions.
So just, I know you said, Julie, obviously people accessing your the service, but just a question, it might have been covered and I might have missed it. How do you run that service? Is it volunteers?
So we've got staff. I don't know if you're aware, but we've got something called the Storehouse, which is a 6,000 square foot warehouse that we get the food from. And Anne, on a Wednesday, Anne manages the shop, and she is a volunteer from Bradford Bronte Rotary Club. So we've got a good partnership with Bradford Bronte. So, and then Thursday, I'm here. So in between sort of work, I'm popping through to the shop, but we are on the hunt for more volunteers.
Oh, brilliant. I'll pop in on a Thursday and say hello.
Yeah, and to be what we have on a Wednesday at the moment, and we're happy to put on more, is literally cookery classes, very entry-level cookery classes.
Oh,
We've run them with I know you've had such stuff, haven't you, at Bridge before, but we've run them with guests from the winter shelters, and it's gone down so well. Just when people are moving into the accommodation, just getting them to make some basic stuff, how to make a tomato sauce and a brown sauce, cooking eggs, you know, about getting cooking from scratch, really.
Oh, fantastic.
I don't know, didn't mean to do that. Oh, you don't want to do that again. So
Could you put your camera on, Julie, by any chance?
maybe. Have to get back to you there.
If not, it's just because it's being recorded, it'd be good to see. Yeah, we go.
Oh, sorry, yeah. So yeah, if there's anything we can help you with, just get in touch.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you.
The other thing also to just out, I was having a conversation with Zora at the beginning, that credit unions are quite unique in the fact that we don't pay interest on our savings. We pay a dividend, and that is a profit sharing or way of being able to say that if any profit that we have gets shared out to members. So because we don't pay a set rate of interest rate, the last Lord Mayor that was Muslim went to the imams in the city, double checked with them, opened his own account and endorsed us as faith friendly because we are Sharia compliant in the form of savings, the interest that we don't pay. Has anybody else got any questions? Otherwise,
yeah, you were saying that's really good, Ian. It's good that we've got that service there. You know, I know that a lot of Muslims, they do try to avoid interest, and that's why they prevent like getting loans out or credit cards, all because of interest, and it usually is higher, and then usually majority of people fall into debts.
Yeah.
And I think this is really good, you know, for Muslims and non-Muslims, and I think it's just something that's overall that's really good. I have heard of it, but I've never really known the ins and outs of it. Well, that's really good service, and I would definitely recommend to our clients. And also with the food savers, that's really good as well. You know, Julie, you're doing really well, and keep it up. And hopefully, I wasn't even aware of that service actually. I heard of it, but I just didn't really know what it was. I just thought it was just a food bank, but I didn't realize that you're linked with credit union and how you can actually save that bit of money. And you don't even realize. I know majority of people say we haven't got any money, but they're actually spending it somewhere where they don't even need to be.
Yeah.
So if you could just save that a bit,
Absolutely.
and we can end up with a bit of a lump without even knowing. Every little bit makes a difference.
Yeah, well, one of the ladies, oh, you're right. Yeah, one of the ladies has saved £80, which has been really good.
that's brilliant. So
Actually, well pleased.
if anybody's interested in, because it's being recorded, if anybody at Stronger Families, Barnardo's, and the organisations that we're working with want to refer into Food Savers, go onto our website under Food Savers, pick up the Julie's email and phone number there and contact her direct if you want more information. And if you're interested in the uniform savers to get your single parent families saving and get the £100 for them, then go to our website and direct that to uniform savers at bradford.gov.uk to be able to refer in for that. So those are 2 schemes that we have for you today. So thank you very much. I really appreciate Rebecca for inviting me on, and it's good to meet everyone at Stronger Families. Thank you.
Can you stay on? Ian?
Everyone can stay on. I'm just trying to stop the recording.